with a putt for a birdie. The opening hole here, as I suspect you know by now, is a par 3, 206 yards. That's where Seve put his tee shot. Now, a very, very long putt for the birdie.
The first green to Ballesteros, whose opening putt was rather disappointing. His tee shot wide on the green, but just look how much he's left himself. Oh, and that's a consolation for him. A 3, 4 under. And stay quiet. He's got a 2-iron here at this 12th hole. 198 yards, and if he needs a 2-iron, then it's a long hole indeed. Seve 5 under. Joint leader with Nick Price. And the applause has started. They like it. Yes, well, there's a great shot. No fears for Seve with the treble on the right, and a very happy Ballesteros.
So Seve on his way home. Now we can give you a potted history of the outward half. Here he is at the second with a chance of a birdie. That's the par for a second, 437 yards. Now, driven into a fairway bunker at the third. Second shot. That's not a bad little knockout there at the third. This is a putt for a par at that same hole. Just slips by. So drops the stroke at the third. Started the day 4 under. And this now to drop just the 1 stroke at the third. So goes to 3 under par. Now the par 5-6, second shot. And it comes. That's not bad, is it? 2 shots at a par 5 hole. Eagle putt. Oh, we'll be angry about missing that one. But it's just a tap in, and it's a birdie. Oh, dangerous. So it goes back to 4 under. Now the next hole, the 7th, is also a par 5. And he's on in 2 again. Eagle putt. Hasn't quite got the direction of that, but again, very close, and almost a formality now for the birdie. And that was the putt that put him level at 5 under with Nick Price. Now we move on to the 9th, side of the green. Little chip shot. Oh, almost the old magic one. So, a par on the 9th. 5 under, and on plods Seve on the homeward holes. With slight
Seve delving into a bit of light refreshment. Nice juicy apple, and I'm sure it tastes much better today than it's been tasting for some time. The welcome from the galleries. So many Open Championships have had unlikely leaders after the first round. John Morgan in 1974 and Bill Longmuir here in 1979 when SEVE won. Remember, David Hush and Jimmy Hume from neighbouring Gullen Golf Club led in Open Championships in one round, but this time it wasn't the same. It was Ballesteros who led, and he is no unlikely leader. The joint leader, and this to take him into the lead on his own right. And that was swinging away to the low side. And you can see he was quite aggressive with it. He was going for the 2. And he's left himself quite a little bit to do for the par 3. SEVE without his brother as caddy, which many think is a wise move. He had 1 or 2 disputes with the brother at the United States Masters in the middle of fairways. But he's now got Ian Wright. Now SEVE. Part of just a bit over 2 feet for his 3. And very confident, lovely low stroke of the putt ahead. So he's 5 under. He's tying still with Nick Price, who's completed. The 13th, SEVE. This is where, back in 1979, he started his great rush on the closing day. He made a 3 by chipping in here. For another 3 to celebrate the second round here. Really is an inspiring player. That deep bunker there, you see, that's the one he drove into on that final day trying for the green. Thinned it out past the green and then chipped it back in for a 3, and he was on his way. He'll just mark that whilst Ballesteros stalks the green. Come in for many criticisms about the way he played in 1979, the closing holes when he won here, but we've seen many examples of how to use the footpaths and the ground that's trampled by the many thousands who come here. Very unwise, for example, at the 18th hole to drive into the trees on the right when there's a big spectator way on the left. This is for a 3 and 13. And what a pity. A little chance went begging there. The last 2 holes since he came into our live vision, he's had the opportunity of birdies to get away, the lead on his own from Nick Price. Great iron shots. Still, he's 5 under, and he is still the championship leader along with Zimbabwe's Nick Price. This is the 14th tee. And Ballesteros preparing to drive it. It's the 445 yards, and it's probably one of the most difficult holes on the course. It's this awkward wind coming against and off the left shoulder that the players don't like. They don't enjoy it. A great temptation to hold the ball up against it on the left and end up with it in the deep rough on the left. It's probably the least favorite shot for golf professionals. Beautiful posture, hands quite low. Oh, and he's unleashed at that. Yes. Well, I think he used the first of the 2 alternatives I gave, and it's into the gallery.
Back of the 14th, and SEVE's had another snap hook here. He isn't in that good a spot, really. He's got a hump in front of him. He's got the sort of lie where he could hit a 6-iron, but there's a lot of trouble on 6-iron length. There's a bunker up some 150 yards, 160 yards ahead of him. The fairway then goes into a narrow neck. He's really got to decide whether he's going to take a club large enough to go over that bunker or whether he's going to lay up with something like an 8-iron. But this hole really doesn't seem to be Seve's at the moment, except he made a remarkable 5 here yesterday.
Well, I wonder if Seve will go now. I do believe that there are people still on the green, and he may consider that there's not much point in rushing. You can see the spectators being allowed to cross the fairway, so the stewards up there have obviously are allowing the players ahead to putt out. He's asking people who I don't know where he's going to go this time. Those are the trees on the left in your picture now, where he made his adventures yesterday and gave us all the usual Ballesteros treat of a minor miracle. Hopefully he will not try that one again. I think he's got something in the region of a 6-iron in his hand. Quite a straight-faced club. 6-iron at the 14th. See how low the ball is. He stayed well at that one. Well, there's no great cheering from the galleries, and it's because he's well short of the green. It would have been too much to hope for to get up. But hopefully no danger. Up following this match, packing into behind this match, and we have record crowds for any single day in the Open Championship. We've gone over 40,000, and this last have been treated, and you can hear how they do enjoy these great players. The galleries welcoming them towards the green, clinging to all parts of the grandstands there. And there's the man with the best view in all of England, that man up yonder. Third shot at the 14th, and we mustn't forget the crosswind that's blowing across there. The cameraman trying to keep it under control, and you could see how he was holding that into the wind and letting it drift now, and it's just drifted a touch too soon. Well, very much in danger of dropping a shot at the 14th hole, going out of the joint lead. SEVE Ballesteros, and this must be all of 8 yards for a 4. Fowler has got his 4, and that one was absolutely spot on line. One of those wayward drives that Seve's hit. He had a rough trip up here yesterday and got out with a 5, which could have been a 7 or an 8 or a 9. And today another mishit off the tee has cost him one of the few shots that he's dropped. He hasn't dropped any others today. Back to 4 under par, 1 behind the leader, Nick Price. Just a touch angry with himself at the tee shot. He was determined to hold it up against the wind. He wasn't going to let it drift. He towed the club head in, and the result was the quick hook that usually, this time from the right. Fuzzy, who of course hits the ball with a rather large swinging draw. It wasn't too easy for him, but it will hopefully help the other players. I know it's the wind I prefer to play in, the one that hits you on the chest rather than the one that hits you on the back of the neck. At least this way you know you can turn fully, you can launch it out to the right. You see our high camera. That is about the line, and let the wind swing it slightly left. Now just watch this. Classic golf swing. He really is hitting the ball exceptionally hard. That's a smashing shot. I mean, he seemed to just lose a bit of his fluidity there as he hit it so hard, but it's smack up the middle of the fairway. Yeah. Adrenaline flowing, and he's charging on now. He's got to make back the shot. He's not got many holes left to do it. And they're not actually the easiest holes on which to make birdies. 15, 16, he could probably make one, because it's a hole that he can get up with an iron club and probably a small wedge shot. 17 is no pleasure, and 18 is very difficult. Just look at the crowds. I wonder what the figure is now.
Yeah, quite right, Alex. A tremendous crowd here. Nicholas is second up to the old clubhouse. Oh, did he snatch it a bit? Could go left. No, it doesn't. Right over the pin. Lovely shot. Ultra bowl. Nicholas dropped a stroke at the 70s. He's now 3 over. So 2 putt.
Waiting for the green to clear. It's 463 yards. It's a very hard hole. He hit a cracking tee shot. Couldn't be in better position.
Certainly was a cracker. He really buttoned it. I think it must have had a fairly soft bounce, because he really turned it over and it seemed to go for miles, but in fact he's left himself now with 190 yards, and he's got an uphill lie there, which he won't be overly pleased about, because the wind's coming slightly against off the right, and it will to a certain extent balloon the ball in the air. He's probably going to have to hit a 4-iron.
Well, it's an astonishing. Royal Lytham and St Anne's will be dashed, and if we can have record crowds here and accommodation for everyone, then why not stay with such a venue? And Ballesteros still waiting, and really you don't want to stand around too long. The tempo will go. I'm always fascinated when he does his practice swings.
And quickly to the 18th, Jeff.
The 15th, and he's leaning away. Does that mean the ball's leaking to the right? Well, if it has, it's not leaked too much. That's a beautiful iron shot. And another opportunity for a birdie. Holes 12 and 13 and 15, he's hit immaculate iron shots. Just that wayward drive at 14. Looks totally... One can only repeat what an incredible sight this is. It was Royal Lytham that started the setting of records, and 79, and they didn't get broken until we went up to St Andrews, and I just wonder how we'll break the record that's about to be created here. So Ballesteros at 4 under, he has this to join Nick Price in the lead. No, my goodness, he's given that such a rattle. I mean, he's not only missed it by about a foot on the right, he's travelled on another 3 or 4 feet, I think. When he does get aggressive, he really charges everything. Tee to green. This young Australian golfer. A lot of Australians playing in the field. Unfortunately, the greatest of them all, Greg Norman, because of the damaged wrist in the United States Open, he's not here with us. He would have added to the spectacle, I'm sure. Now, Ballesteros. Stay with it. Yes, he stayed down on that, and he struck it quite superbly. A wonderful 4, and he is 4 under, just 1 off the lead.
Three holes left to play. And he's really well trod water today. He's had a frustrating time. So many chances. And he's found the rough on the right-hand side. And provided he's
Seve with just 130 yards to go, but he's going to throw the ball high in the air. The wind has freshened as the day goes on, and it's certainly going to hit that ball when it gets to the height.
And a fine shot from Ballesteros, but he badly needs to get a putt in. Years ago, the shots he's hit into these greens, I would have expected him to have holed 3 or 4 of them and be well in command of this championship. Seve's tried all known methods, never knowingly leaves the ball short. And he hit it the same line as Zeller's. He saw Zeller's die away to the right of the hole, allowed for it because he hit his a little bit harder. And it didn't take the borrow. His 10th in a row. Actually got a share of 12th spot at 1 over par now. Seve, who's in second place, nonchalantly knocks it away, sweeping away an irritant fly. But he'll have learned a lot. He'll have done very well. His score of just 1 over par playing with Ballesteros is a great draw. It's going to be a very intimidating draw. Ballesteros, 17th tee. Fine shot, but for my money they'd prefer to be a little bit over to the left-hand side because all the danger is over on the left-hand side of this fairway. There's those massive bunkers, the one Nick Faldo got into yesterday, and really...
Seve's second, and he has... he's got 190 yards. Now, the wind is following a little bit, mainly off the right. It has got quite strong this afternoon. Very difficult pin placement to get at. The bunkers on the right with this wind guard it very well, and if you float a ball out down the right, let the wind bring it back, then it really is difficult to get close. So we might even see Seve put a bit of cut on this one and just hold it up.
Just like Peter Fowler before him, let it go on the breeze. And the green's perhaps getting a little spiky. He'll have his work cut out to get down in 2 from there. There's nothing particularly difficult about it, but these greens getting a little slicker. 2 3s, of course, Ballesteros. But the course certainly over the opening 2 days has been the winner. There are now only 6 scores anywhere on the course under par. And he's a little bit further short of the hole than Fowler was. Zeller taps in for his 4 and stays 4 over. almost whatever happens to Ballesteros now, he's going to be within a shot or so of the lead with 2 rounds to go, and he'd have settled for that. Beginning of the good putt. He's held a couple of good ones in the last 3 holes for his par. So he's still 4 under. Level par way. And of course, with the crowds walking over there, quite nice ground. And of course, it was from over there that Seve made his 4 at the last to win in 1979. Difficulty, of course, the pin cut over the left-hand side of the green, and impossible if you are over there to get it close to the pin. And I think that's gone a bit the same way. He's watching it now, so no. And may well have a much worse lie than Fowler, even though Fowler's 70 or 80 yards further left.
Seve, and he's got a typical lie in the semi-rough here. 190 to go, straight into the wind, and certainly not an easy shot. The ball's not lying that badly, but on the other hand, it's not lying that well.
You reckon, Clive, he can get there?
Well, I think he can get there, but it'd be a brave shot to aim at the pin.
Leaking away and into the bunkers. 1979, they held no fear for him. He visited sand 15 times, and 14 of those he got down in 2. And he says the winner of this championship will have to have that sort of... And anyone within half a dozen shots of the lead is very well placed now. Ballesteros, 3rd shot, 18th. The showman. And you're going to trample the fairways of the world and played 100,000 rounds of golf, but it's impossible not to be excited by the reception that he's had and lifted by it. And they move out of the way. Ballesteros. In she goes, no doubt about that, at 4 at the last. An even par round of 71 to go with his 67 in the first round, a 4 under par, 36 hole total. And 1 shot behind Nick Price, who now seems certain to lead the championship at the halfway stage.